Hello, thank you everybody. I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about something that we at Spinview are really passionate about, and that is the opportunity that virtual reality can offer to your business. When it comes to virtual reality, much of the press and the discussion that you find is based around the hardware, especially since the recent launches of Oculus Rift, HTC and Sony. Ooh, got a bit flashy here. I assure you though, this is because there's definitely people that can deal with the hardware much better than I can, and they will all be able to help you with discussions. Today though, I want to talk to you about something that is beyond the hardware. What is virtual reality after that? What are its uses? And most importantly, what is its content? So at Spinview, when we talk to people in VR, there are some really great businesses that push the edge on content creation. And the one question I hear all the time is, how do I get that VR thing? So, VR may be able to transform some industries, but it is really, really important not to leap on the bandwagon and just create a VR thing and do VR. And as with any business, following the crowd will not reap you any benefits. First, I just want to talk about the first time I experienced VR. I got my glasses, put them on, had a little look around the room and was amazed at the depth, the immersion that it created. I let my mum see them, and she was static. I had to make her look at the ceiling, look at the floor. And yet when my 5-year-old took them, she's there, she's walking around, "Mum, look, I've got no feet." That made me want to be sick. I was like, oh. It is their world. It is the world that our children live in. It is the world that they want to live in. And as much as I might like not to admit it, I'm not a millennial. And we've had technical boundaries against us in our life as we've been growing up. They are entering a world that has no technical boundaries in the same way that we have experienced. This is their future. And today, your customers are empowered by technology. They are more informed, more knowledgeable, and more connected than ever before. And brands across a wide range of industries are now able to use these kind of technologies to create conversations with their customers. Around us, there are some great examples of virtual and augmented reality, and there are some existing ways of doing them. Today, what I want to look at is, why is VR important? What's caused the disruption? And what is the role of emotion in this process? And then fundamentally look at two things. One, what are the uses of virtual reality for your businesses? And finally, and perhaps most importantly, what you should consider when you create your VR content. So I think most people in the room might recognize this. Hands up if you install Pokemon Go on your phone. Come on, really? This view, honestly? Wow. Most people around the world, there is a penetration like nothing before. And the awareness and the content engagement and influence that is being generated from things like this and other content is phenomenal. If you haven't tried it, it's worth downloading just to see what the hype is about. Just to see how you can have these little creatures thrown into the world that is outside for you. And whether it is Pokemon or Snapchat, and whether you'll be wearing the spectacle glasses soon to take videos of your world, we certainly cannot predict every event that will happen. But what we can recognize is our customers today want great content. So to pause for a minute and just look beyond the Pokemon and the gaming, how did we get here in the first place? It's commonly accepted that the PC, the internet, and the mobile were the first waves of consumer computing, each one arriving faster than the one before. And each passing wave has had direct impact on consumers, on their behavior. Convenience is now an absolute necessity. The more we are now making life easy for our customers, the more they are expecting convenience. And products and services alone are not enough to differentiate your brands. Perceived value for brands today is heavily dependent upon the feeling of involvement, the emotional connection, not merely how quickly that you can deliver goods and services. So how do you make your experiences stand out against backdrops of constant disruption? And that's emotion. Why are emotions important? Today, businesses spend almost all of their consumer marketing budget focused on an area of customer internet activity that we call intent. That is, we browse to fulfill our utilitarian needs. We specifically are trying to solve a problem. But actually, only 1/3 of people online are actually in this mindset. The other 2/3, they're browsing through emotion. And in particular, that part of emotion they're browsing through is for expertise. Today's customers, and those millennials in particular, are browsing to keep up to date with the latest news. They want to feel like experts. They want to actively share their expertise then with their friends, because this makes them feel like they belong. This emotional edge is one of the things that you as businesses can actually truly own in your conversations with your customers. And that's why it is so important to deal with emotions. And to touch back on that social influence, because those people are motivated by the desire to feel like an expert, what ultimately drives them to share this with their networks? They want to be able to feel like they can connect, they can add value. And if you give them the way to add that value, when you're giving them information on your products, they will share it. If you provide informative and engaging content, you create unique ways to uncover and share that content. They will engage with you in a whole new way. So make sure you encourage conversation inside and around your VR content, which will come to how we create later. Create dialogues with your customers, and you will convert them into being your brand advocates. It's not that brands don't actually know how to appeal to the consumers, though. In fact, they frequently do it offline. The problem is now they need to learn to translate that back into a digital world. I'm going to take retail as an example. Consider your last in-store shopping experience, whether you were in a grocery store, a clothing boutique, or a shopping mall. What can you remember? It's likely that the lighting, the decor, layout, dozens of different elements all came together to give you a sense and a mixture of emotions within you. Even more likely that all of these different elements were put together by a marketeer or an emotional psychologist. The beauty of the real store is it's uniquely placed to deliver you this emotional edge for brands and create emotional and meaningful connections as a result. The full immersion of sight, sound, and other senses not only affect the individual, but have a significant effect on the actions that they take when they've finished those experiences. Today, most of our online experiences are utilitarian. VR now provides us with the ability to enhance this very aspect of shopping that has largely been lost through most of these list-based functional experiences. So giving you the opportunity to create immersive retail experiences in VR, not only can you as businesses inform and excite your customers, but the technology can, by leveraging data, start to deliver unique, personal, one-on-one experiences. And once you have that customer in your world, they can learn more how to use your products, where they might fit, how and where they were made. They can even view demonstrations. They're able to walk around the store aisles. They're able to focus, collect products off the shelves, spin them in 360, view them and read about them, and then put them back. You can cross-sell, you can upsell, and you can even provide them items that are not necessarily in stock right now today. Then, a simple tap and a swipe, and it's in their shopping baskets. By engaging emotionally with the people through innovative experiences, we can bring them closer, build brand loyalty, and boost your market share. Recently, and very interestingly, there have been some very daring suggestions that Amazon may actually be behind the curve on this. Sure, it's got convenience cornered, but it is very utilitarian. It's going to be really interesting to see how businesses, as they become better at delivery, can actually, who have that emotional connection with their audiences, can compete in a world against Amazon. So how can you ensure that you have that lead? Retain emotional connections and create the right VR experiences for your brands. By studying VR today, we've been able to identify 8 different ways that you can actually use VR at the moment for your business. VR can provide you new ways to demonstrate your products. It can take a customer from the tent on the side of a mountain to the middle of the desert. It allows them to be immersed inside the experience, to get a sense of how to use the product, what its function and its form will be, and how it would be useful for them. Product purchasing decisions are now able to be made with much greater confidence. Emphasizing the playful nature of VR, businesses can attract people to experience brands, particularly relevant in that retail space. You can use then your more traditional methods to encourage purchasing intent. IKEA have been great in developing this, and they now have lots of apps, one of which I'll come to later. But the main one is the ability for you to see how those sofas, how those tables and chairs look like in your own home. And actually, they've added a sense of fun. You can now throw their famous meatballs around the room. You can create tangible experiences. If we look at tourism, how does a hotel or a cruise company incite you to go on a tour? You've never done it before. How do you really know if you want to spend that much money? It gives you the ability to immerse yourself in that world, to see it and feel it as if you were really there, and it sells like no other medium. We can now deliver the ultimate product experience. For the auto industry, the test drive is the best-selling tool there is. But getting customers to a showroom can be really challenging. And when you get them there, having the right car, in the right model, with the right spec, with the right trimmings, is almost impossible. But now, it doesn't matter. With a simple headset, you can give the customer any car, any design, any layout that you wish, and show them what it would look like in alternative colors, and upsell into better trims because they can visualize, they can see. You can even test drive in the racing game format. It provides a sense of fun. Consumers are increasingly interested to learn about the origin and backstories of how products came about in the first place. And VR is now able to creatively show the entire production process. Hacienda Patron Tequila Distillery are fully embracing this, and I'd actually really recommend you having a look at this video online if you can find it. One thing, though, we cannot forget commercial opportunities. Imagine if you could sell the same seat at a stadium or a theatre or an event as many times as you wanted. To bring people, to give them a VIP experience without them really being there. The NBA have been really embracing this, and you are now able from anywhere in the world to go and view an NBA match in real time. Going back on the retail experiences, why not go further? Combine social media within your store, display products being shared on social media, and encourage sense of purchases. introduce catalogue codes, and allow customers to view the furniture in their own home. You can even start doing hashtag campaigns inside and mixing with the VR environments and encourage selfies and opportunities. And associating your brand through sponsorship is something that many companies are doing today. Increasingly, though, brands are looking for ways to be more closely involved with the event, not just put their name on a t-shirt. By providing immersive VR experiences for your audience alongside these events, we can deepen brand engagement and extend it beyond the physical value. Red Bull today are offering VR experiences alongside its extreme flying. So now as a fan, you can experience what it would be like to be inside the plane, not just view it. These key uses of VR provide us different ways to understand how we can apply that to our business. They're in more of an emotional side, but there is another side to VR, and that is very functional. It is underlying this, it is data. VR provides us an ability to capture an entire world of data. Every footstep, every eye movement can be captured. We can understand in real time exactly how a consumer is behaving and integrating with your brand. The implications for this are enormous. Anything from construction to architecture, to body measurements for your AR apps, we can understand exactly a consumer's intent. You could take your VR into your business planning process, use it to create the most optimal store layout, test different concepts and different designs, and use quantifiable tracking to ensure that everything is okay and it works and you're not wasting money. A well-documented use of this is actually in manufacturing. They have been using it in R&D for a number of years, and manufacturers like Ford and Airbus have used both VR and AR considerably. They are showing early promise in reducing error rates, improving productivity, and enabling remote collaboration. Jaguar Land Rover in particular are embracing the use of AR technology as part of its vehicle development process. It gives them the ability to fine-tune ergonomic details, like interior control positioning, where mechanical components should be, and even different designs inside the layouts of the cars. It can actually take as many as 30,000 tests before a car is passed as safe to drive. So this functionality has the capacity to drive down both the environmental and financial impacts. It reduces and potentially eliminates the need for physical prototypes. It is saving time to market. Perhaps the next most popular use of the functional side of VR and AR is in safety and efficiency. This is where it is being really heavily embraced at the moment, particularly AR. The new technologies for smart glasses, in particular, and especially those that have been modified for the use on the factory floor, are providing efficiencies from staff training to assembly line procedures and processes. Designers and engineers are now able to create products at a much faster pace with the help of product behavior and visualization. Strong relationships between different departments is now encouraged. It is much more possible because they can now visualize each step of the process and directly see their impact. It is bridging all the communications gaps. By using this type of augmented assembly, there is no longer any need for users to abandon one activity to check on another. It's allowing them to get things done faster. It's hands-free. It gives them immediate access to data. With a simple tilt of the head, they can pull up all the information that they might need inside the glasses, see what the problem is, all without having to put it down and go back to a traditional computer. These kind of technologies are saving time minute by minute. So as we can see, VR is providing us amazing opportunities for business, both from the emotional and the functional perspectives. So how, when we consider the use for our business, do we ensure that the content is the right content? To revisit my starting comment, we're seeing many people look at these kind of opportunities and they want to create a VR thing. They've seen its use and they just want to go do something. But how do you do the right thing? Whether it is functional or emotional content creation, it is important. The right creation, even more so. Historically, much of the content that is available has focused on gaming and entertainment. And this is where it really has had the edge on having fun. And that's a human desire. It's innate in us all. But actually, it can do more than this. As we saw at the start, it allows us the opportunity to add back the emotional engagement that the convenience of today's modern computing has left behind. It's offering an opportunity to completely change how we interact with our world and deliver engaging content. So let's just imagine, instead of reading a newspaper or watching a news clip, the virtual reality device drops you right in the middle of the news story itself, allowing you to experience that type of content in a really immersive way. In fact, we are actually seeing this type of news organizations doing things like this today. People like the New York Times and many charities, and it's about the storytelling capabilities. One of the best examples there are today is that of UNICEF. They created an 8-minute, 360-degree film called Clouds Over Sidra. This was to draw attention to the refugee crisis in Syria. The film focuses on the life of a 12-year-old girl living in a refugee camp. And when it was shown to the people on the street of New Zealand, they doubled donations. For UNICEF, it was that immersive nature of storytelling, of actually experiencing something, that created empathy. Content that uses VR to tell stories, stories that excite, that teach, that inform and inspire us, will keep customers coming back for more. So the main question that you need to answer when you're creating your VR content is why? Why are you creating this in the first place? And the why is about your customer motivations. So how can we use this to build stronger and more meaningful connections? Research has revealed that people around the world are engaging in content in 8 different ways. We refer to these as content moments. Each content moment is comprised of 4 elements. Those occur before, during, and after each moment. These are the motivation for initiating the content, the emotion we feel whilst we're in the content, and the outcome of the content, and then the topic of the content itself. So I'm going to give you this as an example in virtual reality so you can see what I mean. Let's look at an example of a hotel. We can do what you might expect. Go and create a 360-degree tour. Let's go and look at the lobby. Let's go and have a drink at the bar. Let's go and view the sofas near the reception. It's all very nice. And if you're a tour operator, whilst it is perfect for showing the luxury of the hotel and the environment it is sited in, these are the activities that embody the mundane parts of booking. They don't do much more than address the find and the perhaps be in the know. At the end of the day, it does have some value. It is nice to be able to see what you're spending your money on, where you will stay. It's just not really that exciting. In this instance, the ability to inspire, to entertain, and to connect are missing. They are the ways we want to spend our time. With VR, you have the ability to transport people to other planets, to faraway places, and they're just not leveraging that here. But if you as a hotel are a wedding venue, and this simple VR tour will inspire your bride that wants to book with you to make choices about her day, to see the room that could host where she'll have her wedding breakfast, to provide simple interactivity that will allow her to change the colour theme to suit her wedding theme. Then the outcome is different. You connect with her. You can make her feel good. And that entire motivation and outcome for this type of content is different. The venue approach is highly effective and appropriate. Both have their place, but you as a business need to choose how you're telling your story and do it differently. You need to select the right combination of topics, formats, and audience groups, and this will drive more relevant content experiences. So I want to look further at how this type of interactivity can change simple content into something that meets more of the customer's moments and makes it more valuable. You don't always need to spend an enormous amount of money on creating a full, immersive, 360-degree production quality video. A restaurant in Sweden, they created a virtual reality tour. Nothing too special there. But then they added interactivity inside it, the ability to book a table and to read the menu. It's still fairly practical content value. It's still not quite that exciting. So a question, how do you take what you have here and create conversation, create that engagement? In this case, they created engagement through the use of consumer influence. By taking the menu of the week and having the chef virtually appear inside that environment to create key dishes, to talk to the customer, the restaurant are able to use the chef's ability and influence to create emotional connections. They start conversations. Changing the content at regular intervals retains their engagement. When we combine this with the ability to invite your customers to contribute to recipes, to share this with their networks, or even become the chef of the week, we're able to interact with the brand in an entirely different way. We change practical, functional content to something that is far more emotive and lasting. In doing this, you're able to bring your audience from brand awareness through consideration into intent, and lastly, and most importantly, into action. Another example of using great content but focusing on an end game is that from ITV Studios, which is a UK TV station. They created a very simple tour. It was a behind the scenes of Buckingham Palace as a film set. This was the center of the TV show. And from one piece of content, they were able to use it to create multiple marketing assets to hit 6 different industries, each with a different story and a different focus. They were able to use it for design and management, for PR, for their international sales, for advertising sales, for their consumer launch, and their social marketing campaign, all from one piece of content. Now, I have the video, and I can send you these afterwards. If anybody would like to, if they give me their card, I can email you examples of all of these tours that I'm talking about. So what I want to do now is look at all of this that we've talked about and how early adopters of this technology who have been successful, how have they leveraged these moments? And what can we learn from them? You need to show your customers what you're getting. Back to IKEA again for a moment. They've been doing some great work. They have a kitchen experience which allows you to view the kitchen and create it as if you were inside it yourself in your own home. You can view it from an adult height, a child's height. You can change the color of the units. You can see what you're getting for your own home. The North Face, they have a VR device combined with wind and other elements. And this is letting people pretend they are base jumping. I mean, let's face it, if you are out and about in the shopping centre and there's this device, and you know that you can go and experience it, chances are you are going to go and visit them in store and try it out. And whilst you are there, you will have a higher likely to go and purchase at the end of it. Sephora have an augmented reality mirror. They are allowing customers to try on different shades of makeup without removing their own. They're even allowing them to take selfies and show and share with friends afterwards. William Hill, the bookmakers, are enabling customers to experience live horse racing from the viewpoint of the jockey, all whilst the race is happening in real time. Both of these brands are using immersion to increase the propensity for conversion. Synsam are a spectacles company in the Nordics. They are using virtual reality to redefine the concept of real. By leveraging the simple tour concepts, they are combining app functionality for AR inside VR tours. You can now try on spectacles to see what you look like, whether you are in VR mode, AR, or on your computer, or in the real store. And finally, remember, you can still have fun and engage with your customer at the same time. Honda, those test drives, they're letting you do it whilst you're playing a racing game. The Natural History Museum is bringing dinosaurs to life. And Qantas is taking all its passengers to the Great Barrier Reef. All these brands had a well-defined plan. Without a plan, the risk is that you create content purely as an asset for excitement, but without a clear vision of how it can translate into sales. As these brands show, we need to make sure that the content itself relates to the customer moments appropriate to your brand. We need to actually answer the why and the what to create. In doing so, we move our customers through at least one of the characteristics that makes for great content, and that is the desire and the want that you want to share that content. The extent to which you want to engage with the content and it meets your emotional needs. The extent to which it can be immediately acted upon. And the extent to which your audience's experience is something that is unique to you and your brand. In doing so, we're understanding how this content can help you find an audience that might not even be searching for you as a business in the first place. Reaching out to them, extending your reach, and nurturing them to take action with you. Ultimately, you have to think endgame. And of course, avoid the bad ideas. If we go back to where we started, I think there's only really one main point to reiterate. Don't do VR for VR's sake. The question of, can I have a VR thing? Following the crowd just to create content because you think you need to create content is not going to reap you as a business any rewards. The worst idea is one that is not an idea at all. You need to think of the problem that you have, how you want to solve it, and then how VR can help you. So to summarize, VR is likely to leave its mark on nearly every industry. The ability to create truly engaging social interactions with customers inside dynamic VR experiences holds a world of potential. Its more functional use for industry are already providing significant cost savings. It looks to provide us the chance to reintroduce engagement with customer that we have been missing from recent years. Remember, select the moments that best fit your brand. Understand the motivation in those moments. Create customized content relevant to your audience. Understand what the customer wants from your content and make it easy for them to take an action. Above all else, give it shelf life. If you are going to go to the effort of creating this amazing content, don't take it down at the end of a 2 or 3 week campaign. With all successful virtual reality content, it will not be those that leap on the bandwagon that will reap the success, but those that engage with their customer, interact with them in their content moment, and ultimately drive them to profitable customer action. Thank you.